The warrior raised his spear to end the foreigner's life. But just before it fell, a cry broke the silence. "Stop!" A young woman stepped into the circle, heart pounding, eyes wet with tears. She wasn't just saving a man, she was risking everything. Her tribe, her future, her life, all for love. If you've ever had to choose between what's expected of you and what your heart knows is right, this story will strike a nerve. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for one of the most emotionally powerful love versus duty stories you'll ever hear. In the vast, untouched wilderness of Tsenakamaka, where the rivers flowed like veins of life and the wind whispered through towering trees, there lived a girl who didn't quite fit the mold she was born into. Her name was Catherine. Born the daughter of the mighty Chief William, her future was written in stone: duty, alliance, tradition. But Catherine, wild, free-spirited, and drawn to the unknown, wasn't made for cages. Not even golden ones. She loved to run barefoot through the forest. She could climb trees faster than most warriors. With her closest companions, Miko, the mischievous raccoon, and Flit, the cautious hummingbird, Catherine explored the world beyond the boundaries her people set for her. While others prepared for war and alliance, Catherine listened to Grandmother Willow, a wise, ancient tree whose roots were wrapped in dreams and visions. And one day, Grandmother Willow gave a warning that would change everything. "There's a wind coming from across the ocean, child. And with it, men who take what they do not understand." Not long after, sails like ghostly wings appeared on the horizon. The English had arrived. They came under the command of Captain John Edward, driven by greed and conquest, dreaming of gold that flowed from the earth like rivers. The native people watched from the shadows. Who were these pale-skinned strangers with loud weapons and hungrier eyes? Catherine felt something stir, not fear, curiosity. And when she locked eyes with John Edward in the forest clearing for the first time, time itself seemed to hesitate. He raised his weapon. She stood her ground. He lowered it. But not everyone saw what she saw. Her father, Chief William, saw a threat. A disease from the outside world. And in fear of losing what was sacred, he pledged Catherine to Kokum, the strongest warrior in the tribe, a man built like stone, with a will to match. He was brave, loyal, and completely wrong for her. Catherine didn't want to protect her. She wanted freedom. She wanted truth. She wanted to run with the wind, not be chained to a man out of obligation. And then, she met John again. This time, words were exchanged. Stories, fears, dreams. He didn't understand her world, but he wanted to. And she found herself drawn to him, despite everything, like the tide drawn to the moon. Their secret meetings became a whisper in the trees. But whispers can turn into storms. Kokum saw the looks. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't evil, but he was proud. And pride is a dangerous thing when mixed with betrayal. One night, under a cloak of silence, he followed her. And when he saw her with John Edward, laughing, talking, touching, something inside him snapped. "You shame your people," he hissed, stepping from the shadows. "This has nothing to do with you, Kokum," Catherine whispered, stepping between them. But it was too late. A blade was drawn. Miko shrieked. Flit darted in panic. John defended himself, but didn't strike back. Still, in the chaos, Kokum was killed by one of Smith's own men trying to protect him. The village exploded in fury. John Edward was captured, dragged in chains, beaten, bloody. Catherine was torn apart inside. She hadn't meant for anyone to die. She hadn't meant to break the trust of her people. But now, the man she loved would pay the price. Chief William was devastated. His greatest warrior, gone. His daughter, disobedient. His land, under threat. And so, an execution was ordered. At dawn, John Edward would die. As the sun rose, painting the sky in crimson and gold, the tribe gathered. John Edward was dragged to the stone altar. He didn't resist. He simply looked at Catherine, his eyes saying everything his bruised lips couldn't. The warrior raised his weapon. And that's when it happened. "Stop." Catherine stepped forward. "If you kill him, you'll have to kill me too." A gasp. She knelt over John, arms outstretched, shielding him. Her voice shook, but her eyes were firm. "I love him. He's not the enemy. Fear is. The world went silent. Even the birds held their breath. And for the first time, Chief William saw not just his daughter, but a woman. Brave, compassionate, wise. He lowered his hand. The execution was called off. But peace is fragile. The English, seeing Smith captured, had prepared for war. Cannons were loaded, muskets raised. And yet, when they saw Smith walking back, alive, beside the chief and Catherine, they paused. A battle was avoided. A war defused. Because one girl refused to let hate win. But happy endings aren't always simple. John Edward was wounded. Gravely. He had to return to England, for care, and for his own safety. He turned to her, eyes wet with sadness. "Come with me. We can leave all this behind." And her heart ached, because part of her wanted to. But she looked out at the land she loved, the rivers, the trees, her people. "I belong here," she said softly, "but I will always carry you with me." Catherine didn't destroy anyone. She didn't humiliate Kokum or punish her father. Her revenge was in the choice. She broke the cycle of fear, of hate, of obedience without truth. She saved a man, not because he was perfect, but because he believed in peace. And she showed a world built on conquest that sometimes the strongest warriors don't raise weapons. They raise their voice. And in that moment, every eye that had once doubted her now looked on with awe. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stand between two worlds and choose your own path. Catherine taught us that love isn't weakness, it's strength. And that one voice, raised at the right time, can silence 1,000 fears. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell us in the comments. Have you ever stood up for something, even when it meant standing alone? And don't forget, subscribe for more powerful moral stories that remind us what real courage looks like.